for about 6 or 8 months. And he said, no, what you have is a combination of the standard civilian that came in, recalled in, let's see, I got my orders. I was in law school my second year and got a 3-cent George Washington stamp. It may have been free, I don't know, saying you were ordered back into active duty. Well, of course, the war had broken out, and we knew that was going on, but I didn't know how soon they'd begin to call us. And they called our class in, and what was 300 and, how many, Lou?
350.
350 guys. So anyway, we all rolled in here on the 3rd of October. So it starts out with in the Navy, and I'd been a communication, I was a geek kid. I could do anything with electronics at that age. So I had a brief tour in the Navy, and this just talks about my mother and father. My father's World War I experience. My mother worked for the Red Cross in World War I. So I had a wonderful family background. This transitions over into our period together, the 1950s. And it talks about a few things that I did. I actually finished up with you guys, and you remember old Silverthorne came down on that cold, snowy day and got us all in the mess hall. I remember it was so hot and sweaty in there that the window is all blocked up with water. And he got up on a mess table and he said, now listen, we got a gang coming out of Chosin. We need young officers to fill out those ranks. And he gave us a real pep talk. And I don't know where old Jockstrap Hart was that day, but Silverthorne was Deputy Commandant of the Marine Corps. So anyway, and he said, how many of you guys volunteered to go? And every damn one of us stood up, is my recollection. Anybody disagree with that? We all voted to get on those first drafts. So anyway, fast forwarding, they found out I'd been a communicator, so they pulled my butt off and sent me to comm school here. And then I recycled back out, got to Korea as a communications officer of the 1st Marine Air Wing. So I slept in the tent and had the same cold with you, but at least the stove worked every night and we had some chow. And some of the equipment I had required extra heat, so I didn't freeze as badly as you guys did. So this moves on through chapters. Here I am as Secretary of the Navy then. I went over during Vietnam. We had a very serious problem in Christmas of '72. I visited about 25 ships lowered down on a helicopter. This is a famous picture of me. And that fellow in the middle, I'm Secretary of the Navy now. This is the commander of all forces Vietnam Marine, old Nickerson. And you remember Nickerson, anybody?
Herman the German.
Herman the German, you're right. And he ate lieutenants for breakfast every morning. But the guy here in the middle is quite an interesting man. He was my military aide as secretary, Marine Corps aide, is Bill Leftwich. And when we go to the basic school, I'm going to find his picture up there because he is a personification of what the young Marine officer was in those days and still today. Well, this moves on. I'm a Grand Poobah, Secretary of the Navy, negotiating in the Soviet Union in Moscow with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the head of the Soviet Navy to get a treaty. Here I ran the nation's bicentennial. Nixon gave me this job. He said, my God, we got to celebrate. I loved history. So that's up in New York Harbor on July 4th, '76. And we move on. These were all the Marines that we got together in the Senate. We had the Marine Caucus. And believe me, you can be sure the Army and the Navy were trying to screw us at every turn. And all I had to do was blow the whistle, get the caucus, and we would filibuster. And they never, ever got around. Corps got its fair share.
Good, good.
And we go on down here. This is when I'm chairman of the Armed Services Committee. Can you imagine me? You remember me, that cartoon you made of me, the sloppiest Marine in the basic school. I'm now chairman of the Armed Services Committee. You understand that? You? Uh-huh. And what am I up here? I'm down here politicking. You got to talk a little bit about politics. This is my lovely new wife, and we're christening a submarine. It's the USS John Warner. She's at sea now for her first combat mission. And that's the story, but I can't even read the type. But in here, I have a phrase that whatever I achieved in life, I owe to the training I got in the military, and I share the honor of this building with every man and woman that I served with in uniform, and especially the 1950 Special Basic Class. It's in here. Where the hell it is, I don't know. But I can't find it now. This thing has been rearranged so many times. But anyway, it's in here, so indirectly you're a part of this building as much as I am. And I just wanted to, here on our reunion, have you see it. It's about to open. It was scheduled to be open, but the usual government contractor problem, it couldn't get underway. But you'll see a little film here in a minute. It's quite interesting. And I guess that's about it. Any questions? But just remember, when you hear them talk about this building, you're in here somewhere. I wish the heck I can find that thing.
Probably 1950s, sir, down in toward this one.
Down in here. This is the guy that we were in the reserve squadron. I used him at Anacostia. When I got our commission out of the commission, I was a second lieutenant, ground officer in the squadron. And he got called up same time we were called up. He went over, he flew all of his missions. He had 50 Corsair missions behind him. He was headed home in the next week, and he was coming in on his last mission. His engine cracked and he lost his life. But he was one of my best friends, and I'd stopped at his airfield to refuel with our plane, and I saw him, but that's not where it is. Well, I can't find it anymore. Is it up there? The honor of naming this building I share with all Marine reserves nationwide. Remember, I talked about reserve. You remember old Jockstrap Hart used to say, those reserves are second-class citizens. They come down to my base. They taught my regulars bad habits. You remember, I can sing that. There it is. Thank you, sir. Let me see. In honor of naming the building, I share this with all Marine Corps reserves nationwide. Upon the outbreak of the Korean War, we quickly responded to orders received in the summer and fall of '50. Report for active duty. The Corps needed to augment the strength of the regular forces. I keep reinforcing the reserves, reinforcing the regulars, many of whom were engaged already in combat operations Korean principles. I'm especially indebted to my group of reserve officers who reported on the 3rd of October 1950 to Quantico and were designated the 1st Special Officers Basic Class and proceeded with a program of 120 days with rapid intensive training, period. That's you. Right. That's your building. My speech is finished.
Senator, I remember going to Quantico for 6 weeks during the summer of '47, and also the summer of '49. I wonder if everybody did that, or was I different?
We were a mix of guys. You got in your commission right at the end of World War II, if you did 47. And then...
Yeah, in '47 I was a corporal.
You were a corporal. When did you get your commission? When you finished college.
When you graduated.
Yeah,
1950.
Because if we'd done enlisted, if we'd done 2 years enlisted, we could come in and go through a short abbreviated program to get the commission, and it was awarded to me when I graduated from college. That's what it was. And, in other words, most of us had enlisted time, and then came up through the ranks and got the commission. I remember my commission is signed something October of 1949, and old P.X. Cowley, when he was commandant, and I'm chairman of the Armed Services Committee, when he come to see me, I said, "PX, you stand. I get seated first. I'm 6 days senior to you." I really was. 6 days senior to PX Cowley. Yeah, Lou?
Just want to point out apropos of
Yeah.
what you just said. I think the proudest
Can you, a
thing,
little louder?
I think the proudest thing that we are of is we showed that we could measure up the regulars.
That's right.
And in fact, just to kind of prove it, this group of guys that went to Korea won 3 Navy Crosses, 12 Silver Stars, God knows how many Bronze Stars, and how many Purple Hearts.
Purple Heart, you're
So
right.
we proved we were pretty good on it.
That's good. There we go. Hey, General Mills still
Sir, I'm
here?
right behind you.
You got that.
I got that. Let me say that I just came. I'm not retired. My last job, I was as an active duty officer. I commanded the reserves, the Marine Reserves,
yeah.
and headquartered now down in New Orleans, Louisiana. But I got to visit with them. Now, when I was in Afghanistan and Iraq as the commander, I had a lot of reserve units came over and did absolutely what you all did, which was prove that they are part of. They're Marines. And they fought like Marines, and they acted like Marines, and they showed the standards that we expect of Marines. And today, we have a mix of active duty, and we don't call them, they're just part of the total force. And we have a great mix. We're still sending them over to the war. They're still doing great things over there, and they are ready to go in the event of if a large conflict broke out. So the standard you all set as reserve Marines is maintained today, and we build on it, and the Reserve Marines are very proud of what you all did, especially during the Korean War, when you were kind of dragged out of your houses on short notice, sent to the fight, and you did magnificent.
I just wanted to add one thing. We did this after 10 weeks of training.
Absolutely.
Where the regulars were getting 6 months.
Absolutely.
10 weeks.
Absolutely. Well, you were Marines. You were Marines. And they needed you in the fight, and off you went to it. And you did a magnificent job. And you take a look at Incheon. You couldn't have done Incheon without having those reserve Marines.
Right.
We don't even say regulars anymore. We have reserve Marines, we have active duty Marines. And most of those reserve Marines were active duty at one point. So it's a total force concept. And if you say regulars, as I did when I first got to New Orleans, they quickly correct you and say, hey, we're talking about Marines. So you all set the standard. You can believe in every Marine Reserve today. There's about 100,000 of them. 32,000 of them are affiliated with a reserve unit someplace in the United States. And the other 60,000 are just by themselves, waiting to be called if necessary. They know the standard you all set, and they are fighting really hard to maintain that standard. You can believe that. Every one of them, man and woman. Awful lot of old ladies these days.
I appreciate that. And all we're trying to tell you, General, is it was a different era. And I remember when I went to this gang shoved off to Korea and other assignments, I was stuck here waiting to go to comm school. I was on Jockstrap Hart staff as first lieutenant for 2 months.
That may have been harder than combat.
Yeah, it was hard to come. And he used to rant and rave about the reserves. But he was a World War I Bellowwood school type guy. And they went through the lean years of the 20s and the 30s. God, they were captains for what, 15 years sometimes. And this sudden build-up, of course he'd been through World War II and he was a distinguished officer. But he really felt that his basic school, which was cranked up 1st of September to start, we're not going to change that syllabus one day. We're not going to change that course because, as MacArthur said in this little police action is going to be over by Christmas. And he wasn't going to jolt that. So, okay, he has our class dumped on him. He'd do the best he can to polish him up a little bit and boot him out of there as fast as he could. But his basic school was not gonna change one day of its cadence to march through the full, I guess, 6 or 7 months it was.
That's right. That's right. Well, and still is. Those young officers you're gonna meet a little later in the day, you'll see they're full of piss and vinegar and they're ready to go. They're more worried they're gonna they missed the war as opposed to going to the war. The question I get when I was the commander here, I'd go out and talk to them.
Yeah.
The question I'd always get was, "Hey, sir, we're gonna miss the war. We won't get our chance." I said, "You'll get your chance. Don't worry about it. Might be a few years, but you'll get it."
Hart was how many remember? Can you draw him into your picture?
What?
Well, any of them. He was a lieutenant general. His title was commanding general, Marine Corps School. And he's a very colorful man, and he was good to me. But he said to me one day, he said, "Warren, you know how the hell I got to be a general in the Marine Corps?" "No, sir. No, sir." "Do you have any ambitions?" "Oh, yes, sir." "Yes, sir." "Well, I'll tell you how. During the 30s, I was the best damn football player in the Marine Corps. That's how I got to be. And he was a champion, all-American football player, back when the Marines had a team that competed with the Army, Navy, and everything.
And the stadium is still there, sir.
It's still there.
The Butler Stadium is still there. It's been improved a little bit, has some astroturf,
Still there?
but it's still there. The Quantico High School plays there. And all the intramurals, of course, take place
Well,
there.
I've held you too long, but just wanted to say hello to you and why I urged Lou, bless his heart, to bring us and show this building, because you write your initials on the wall.
Okay.
All right, somebody take over.
Yes, sir, I got it.
All right, you got it.
I'm Dr. Charlie Niemeyer. I'm the Director of History for the Marine Corps University, and we're going to see, before we get started in my part of the talk, is a little clip that we had done on 7th of August of 2015, the 73rd anniversary of the Marine Corps landing at Guadalcanal. But we also had a really important day that day, because we had the Senator and his closest friends from the Marine Corps come up and rededicate this building, and we're going to see that film now.
And by then,